Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to part 2 of the tablet and radio installation. If you haven't seen part 1, check it out. The link is in the description below, and that's where we tore everything apart. Now we're going to put it all back together, and honestly it looks amazing. So without further delay, let's just get to it. Alright, so we're moving all of the gauges and everything over to the new instrument panel here. And we've got a couple things we've got to do first. The panel comes with these little clips, and we need to use these clips on the top sections here. Clip them in place there, place over there, and then we're going to reuse the bottom clips from the original housing. Alright, and as you guys can see, I did carbon fiber wrap the little tray cover, so that looks a lot better. So from here, all we're doing is installing everything back in reverse. This part first, this part second, and then the gauges last. Oh shit. We forgot the Genesis Coupe badge right here. So there's the new cover. And I will say that carbon fiber is the way to go. That is going to look so sick with the radio up here and the tablet right above it. And you notice, see how the weave on this is going in the same direction. So you got to be very mindful of that kind of stuff when you're wrapping with carbon fiber. Alright, so we have a couple things to look at before we go with the install of the radio. So on this you have the auxiliary port and the USB port in the back. And I haven't found anything online. I don't know for certain if when I hook all this stuff up, if these ports become active in the new radio. Looking at the wiring on this, it doesn't look like it integrates the same way as it does on the stock radio. So what I've done is I bought two things. I have a splitter, just a USB splitter that plugs into the USB port on the back of the new radio. This should give me USB access for iPods, the Android, all that kind of stuff. So the big question is, I need to be able to power an iPod or a phone of some sort, but I also need to be able to power the tablet that's on top. So the question is, what kind of splitter do I use? This splitter has power only to one of the ports and then data and power to the other. So the only thing I would be able to do if I run it down to here is I would have a charging port, which what real good is that? I really like everything to work the same. So what I did was I bought this, which is a very slim profile splitter. It gives me up to 4 USB ports. I can plug this into the back of the radio and then use one of the ports for the tablet and one of the ports to go down to here. Somehow, it may just be a loose cable that runs in there, but because looking at the back, I don't think I can tie right into that port. But it all depends on how this works when we hook it up to here. But I have a feeling that this is going to be the way to go. The only downside is I don't know if having the tablet and the phone plugged in at the same time is going to cause a problem. So this is, like I said, I'm learning as you are, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so before we can do anything with installing the new radio, this is the wiring harness that comes with the Pioneer system. And you're going to have to make sure that you have a adapter kit. The one I got is made by Metra. Again, the link is in the description below. But this is what the adapter kit looks like. These are the ports that are going to go into the back of the radio, and these hook up. And it's pretty simple, just match the colors up. There's a little thing on the back of this that tells you what each one of them is for, but you pretty much just match your colors up and you'll be good to go. You don't have to do any soldering with this. This comes pre-spliced, so all you have to do is pop it off, and again on here just cut it a little bit to expose some wire, twist it, and I'm going to use heat shrink, just little strips of heat shrink to seal it up once it's twisted together. That way I don't have a bunch of bulky connectors behind the radio. I'm not going to go through doing it because it is pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, just match the colors up, but I'll show you what it all looks like when it's done. So there's the finished harness, and all we got to do is hook it to the radio, and the existing cords that are in the back of the car. We should be good to go. So before we do anything with this radio, we need to install the mounting brackets on the side. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to use the old radio as an approximate lineup guide for the holes. All right, the mounting brackets in place. Let's go hook this thing up. Okay guys, so now we actually have to put the tablet inside the new bezel, and the bezel actually comes apart. So the insert is just held on by 4 screws in the back, here, 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 and here, and then it just pops out. And that's going to make it easier to actually cut this, because using the Samsung tablet, we have the center home button that I need to have access to. I don't think I need to have access to the pages button or the back button just yet because of what this tablet's going to be used for, but I don't know. So I may, for now, I'm just going to cut the home button. I may actually add room for those 2 buttons later. But the easiest way I found to do this was to actually take the tablet, stick it on my photocopier, make a paper template of the tablet, cut it out, lay it on top of the area, and actually mark my area for the, I don't know if you can see that, yeah, you can sort of see it right there, where the hole is going to be for that. And all we're going to do is we're going to take a Dremel tool and cut a notch in there, just using one of the drill cutting bits to slice it. This is maybe 1/8 of an inch thick, but it'll be big enough that my fingertip will be able to poke in there. At some point I may end up ripping apart like an old TV remote or something to be able to raise this button up, but for now we're just going to notch it out and make sure it works. So that's the next part. Alright, so now we have our hole cut there, and when the tablet is behind it, can't hardly see here, but I'll be able to hit that button. So the other little snag that we have is the power cord, and with power cord USB cord. But as you can see here, the power cord hits this little notch. We still have room for the mount. We still have room for the mount there, but we're going to have to cut this out some so that the power cord can sit in there. And we couldn't flip this around because then the power cord would be down on this side and it would stick out too far into the actual dash. Alright, so now we've made a cutout there. We've actually shaved away some of the post here, so we've got the screw hole, but we don't have the actual post piece there, but we'll be able to fit this in fine. So now all we have to do is we'll mount this back in, pops into place, got 4 screws, and then we're going to use extremely strong double-sided tape and run it here and here and over here, and we might do a little strip across the top and the bottom because, yeah, why not? We want this to stay. So that's next. We've got one little strip here. I'll put that down. Got another strip. Put it at the top. And then back here, make sure you don't cover that buttonhole if you have to cut the buttonhole. Now, depending on the tablet that you use, you may not need to cover that buttonhole, or you may not even need to have a buttonhole. So that's what I've got. So you want to make sure your tablet's good and clean, and put this cable in the side here so we've got it in the notch that we made. And then we're going to flip this around to make sure that we line everything upright. Your tablet's mounted. Next step is, let's hook this to the radio. Hello. And we'll see which one of these we have to use, whether we're doing the splitter, which I think is what we're going to be doing, or if we're going to be using the Y cable. And like I said, the problem with the Y cable is one side gives you data, which would be fine for the tablet, but the other side's only power. Okay, so everything's connected back here. The only thing we need to do is we're going to take our hub and plug it into the USB port here, and we're going to set the radio back in, and we're going to do some testing on the connection to see if this kind of a connection will work. We're going to plug the tablet into it, and we're going to plug a phone into it. We'll see if we get data on both. Alright, so the tablet's registering that it's charging. That's good. The phone is registering as well. So let's see if we go to iPod, no device. So we get it plugging it in directly, but we're not getting it with the switch. So what we may have to do is just use that splitter that gives us a data line, which will run down to the bottom here. That way we can plug an iPod into it and get this. And then the tablet, all we're going to be doing essentially for that is giving it power. We don't need to have this connected into here, honestly, directly. It's all we need is for it to get power. So that's what we're going to do. So what we're going to do is try this splitter. Like I said, this one has a side that's only charge, and this one has data and charge, so it shouldn't conflict like the hub did. So hopefully that's going to work. Downside is this cable is not long enough to reach down into here. So I do have an extension cable that we'll be using, and what I'll probably do on the back here is there's no way to run that cable in there. We'll pop this top off, and we're going to drill a little notch in here so that we can run the cord through, so that the cord comes out in the tray back there and we have access to it. So that should work. So let's see what we get here. This will be our charge for the tablet, which it's showing, tablet showing that it's charging, which is good. Let's try plugging the iPod in. Perfect. Exactly what we want. Okay, so all we're going to do is now we're just going to hook it all up and put it back together. First I got to drill that hole, and we should be good to go. This thing's going to be sick when it's done. Okay, so we've got the USB port added in there. It's stuck on with just some of the same tape that we used on the top, so it's not moving, so it won't get tucked back in there. And all I did was do a notch in the back, so the cord can't pull through in case that does pop off. Alright guys, so this is shaping up to look really cool. So all we're going to do now is put everything back together, and all the cables just go into the same spot. Radio gets plugged in first, then we're going to put the surround on, and then we're going to do the tablet, and everything, fingers crossed, should go smoothly from here. So that's that piece, the bottom put on here. So now we have everything in place. Just got to put the tablet in now. Now the chances of this coming apart due to vibration or anything is pretty slim, but I don't want to have to take this thing apart just to put a USB connection back in, so it's a good idea to make sure your connections are solid. Now, big question is, will this all fit back in here without any further modifications to the bezel? Oh my God. Wow. You guys seeing this? Jeez. I just can't come up with words for how cool this is now. Wow. So here's the neat thing with this tablet, and there'll be another video about this, but one of the things I've got in here is dash command. So that's going to be the dashboard that's in here. I got my speedometer, boost gauge, fuel flow, all that information will be transferred to there using an OBD2 port that connects to the car, and all that's transmitted wirelessly. So that information is going to be pretty cool. And then down here, plug our iPod in, and now we have Apple CarPlay. Full navigation, access to music, everything. Alright guys, so that's the install of the tablet and the doubled-in receiver. Honestly, probably one of the coolest mods I've done to this car, just because this is something I actually get to enjoy from the driver's seat, which will be pretty awesome. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button to see what else is coming along for this car, and that's all for me for now, guys. Until next time, take it easy.